Tell me why every day I go out looking adorable, and yet nobody ever hits on me or approaches me.
They're actually undercover police officers taking to the streets in Surrey as part of a new operation trying to stop people catcalling and harassing female runners.
Seriously, what are we doing? Hi, my name is Sydney, welcome back to hell. And as per usual, before we launch in, today's video is sponsored by American Financing. And also, very important, I am going on tour in October around the United States, 9 shows in different cities. You should go buy tickets at the link in the description. Come see me live. It's going to be a little bit more personal than what I do on this channel, but still a lot of fun, and it'll be really cool to meet a bunch of you. There are VIP tickets available. They're a little bit more personal. We get to kind of hang out before the show. There are general admission tickets. There are meet and greet tickets. There will be specific tour merch that is pretty cool that I've been working on. So if I am in your city, come and see me, buy some tickets, bring your friends, bring your mom, bring your dad, or whoever. I promise it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you. Okay, let's do the video. Now, I am positive that some of you saw this, but a couple weeks ago, 2 videos went viral on our favorite demented platform, Twitter. I am never going to call it X. You can't make me. Basically, both videos featured cute ladies who were lamenting that menfolk don't approach them when they're out in the world, despite dressing and acting cute and sexy to attract said menfolk. One woman had seemingly just had a night out when you would think that the lads would probably try to hit on you.
I better pay attention to me tonight. I'm so fucking sick of this shit.
Oh my god.
Touch a boob, buy a drink. I mean, it's like very fucking simple.
Whereas the other woman was out on a run, which is maybe a less inviting environment. This is 100% how men get sprayed in the face with bear mace.
Hey, I need you to spray me in the face with pepper spray for a bit.
You need to think of a better bit.
Rude.
Tell me why every day I go out looking adorable, tits bouncing, skin glistening, and yet nobody ever hits on me or approaches me. Ever! Oh my god, like please. I'll take a fucking construction worker catcall at this point. Please.
Anyway, both clips attracted a ton of commentary and attention, and the commentary that was being expressed went in a couple different directions. The first and most obvious one was men saying that this is really the result of women for years telling them not to approach women, not to approach them. Then there were the women who were saying, yes, we do want to be approached, and it is up to the men to do the approaching, and we wish you guys would do it more. And then there were obviously the women who were like, I want to be left alone. Forever. Personally, I was left feeling a little bit demoralized by all of this and a bit disappointed in the gender wars and how bad men and women are at interacting with one another. But on its own, with only these 2 clips as illustrating points, I really didn't feel like getting into this topic and then trying to make a whole video out of it because I wasn't really sure that there was all that much to say. But in my travels of the internet, I have come across 2 videos that also went viral recently that relate to the first 2 clips that I showed you. And now I have some things to say. In these viral videos, Surrey Police Department in England had female officers go undercover as joggers to elicit catcalls. So they were doing all of this on purpose. And then they would use this as pretext to either talk to the menfolk about this inappropriate behavior or arrest them for harassment.
We get honked at, the staring, the hanging out of the window just to look at us, and it's so prevalent.
And police teams are ready to intervene the moment the officers are beeped at, followed, or shouted at, pulling people over.
Those kind of behaviours may not be criminal offences in themselves, but they still need to be addressed. And of course, the people that are likely to commit those kind of behaviours, you know, they may then go on to commit more serious offences or more serious behaviours.
According to The Telegraph, Surrey police made 18 arrests for offences like sexual assault and harassment that seemingly have come about as the result of this.
For people to recognise that it's not right, it's not just a small act, it's a thing that can make someone feel really quite uncomfortable. So I think it's important Surrey Police are taking it so serious. It's one of our force priorities, and for me that makes me feel proud to work for Surrey Police, because for me it's such a personal experience, and I know for a lot of other, if not all other women who experience it. So I feel empowered to be a part of such an operation.
So when I saw these videos, and by the way, I think that this original campaign was posted about a month ago and only recently started going viral, so do with that information what you will. But like many people, I have some feelings about this, and I wanted to take the opportunity to express them. This is good timing, because actually a bunch of people in the UK have been hitting me up recently being like, Sydney, will you please talk about the weirdness and the terribleness that's going on in our country? And the answer to that is yes. Yes, I will, Simon. But unfortunately, we're starting here. So let's start with this Surrey Police honeypot operation. And I think I speak for all of us when I say that I'm not so interested in honeypot operations, but I am interested in dealing with lovely mortgage lenders, which is why today's video is sponsored by American Financing. Now, according to my viewer metrics, a lot of you, like me, did the irresponsible thing of growing up and acquiring adult responsibilities. And one of those responsibilities is trying to manage your finances. This can be a stressful, high anxiety thing for anyone to do, and in today's economy, the prospect makes me want to squeeze my Mr. Snuggle Bear real tight. But fear not, my lovely viewers, because American Financing is riding to your aid like a knight that's really good at financial stuff. American Financing is a family-owned mortgage lender that won't just help you get the loan that you need to buy a house, they're also magicians that will help you manage high-interest debt. And what's more, you can actually trust American Financing because their consultants are salary-based, so they have no incentive to bait you into a loan that only helps themselves. It is all tailored to your needs, and I mean, they don't even have any hidden or upfront fees. And just look at all these awards! What even is this place? And best of all, customers report an average saving of $800 a month with American Financing, who at this point have helped hundreds of thousands of homeowners. So you know that they're like really good at this. So if you're like me, a fellow home buying human being, and you're ready to give up your Mr. Snuggle Bear, then call American Financing today on 888-841-1319. That's 888-841-1319. Or of course, click the link in the description or go to americanfinancing.net/Sydney. The stated goal from these cops in their own press release is to make women feel safer in public spaces and demonstrate to men that creepy, threatening behavior is a no-go. And that's honestly something that I just overall support. I don't think that either sex should feel uncomfortable out in the world. And as far as catcalling goes, for years there have actually been many initiatives to stop it. And I can absolutely see both sides of the aisle here. I know the vast majority of men probably can't relate to this because I am quite certain that it doesn't really happen to you very regularly, but catcalling is annoying at best and downright actually threatening at worst. I have known women and had friends who have had disgusting, vile things shouted at them from vehicles. I've known women who have been followed home or followed for blocks by creepy men and just made to feel generally unsafe out in life. In my personal experience, I have very distinct memories of having this group of friends that I would hang out with, and sometimes after school when we were sort of between 13 through 16, we would walk to the shops from school, from high school, and we would get catcalled all the time. And I remember then thinking, this is creepy. I was a young teenage girl in my school uniform, for goodness sake. Actually, no, that one checks. I mean, you know, considering what the most popular adult content is on the internet. So, seriously though, talk to the women in your life and you will realize just how many of them were catcalled as teenagers, and not even when they're, you know, 16, 17, 18. I mean like 12, 13. When you're a potato, you know, so do with that information what you will. I also think with catcalling, there is a huge difference between simply telling a woman that she's beautiful or attractive and then leaving her alone and doing things like this.
Well, what do they usually say to you?
Oh my god, what do they not say?
Carpet match the curtains.
Do fries come with that shade?
I'll straight up fuck you.
Anyway, so all of those creepy, uncomfortable experiences really do stick with you. And that's, I guess, why I can understand why some women are looking at the Sorry Police initiative and thinking, this is good. This is a step in the right direction when it comes to making public spaces safer for women. But when I think about this a little bit deeper, when I really dig into it, I think that this is a little bit more nuanced than that. I don't see this issue as terribly black and white. I think that there are certainly shades of gray. And I think this is where it ties back to those original clips that I showed you at the very beginning of this video. Like I said, Sorry Police are essentially carrying out a sort of honeypot operation, setting up a scenario to bait men into behavior that's then punished. Men are already nervous about approaching women, I think. They second guess their moves, they're worried about being misread. Now add the fear of a literal sting operation. Imagine a guy working up the courage to tell some cute woman passing by that she looks beautiful, and then the next thing he knows he's got a cop in his face telling him he said some no-no words. And I'm not super sure that initiatives like this are capable of making the distinction between something that is innocuous and genuinely complimentary and someone being an actual risk. And they couldn't possibly, because, let's be real, you don't know the intention of the person doing the catcalling until they're either walking away from you, asking for your phone number, or trying to drag you into their van. And because of this unfortunate reality, these initiatives basically risk casting a uniform net over any man who approaches any woman in any context, and I think that's really sad. Again, I don't think a ton of men can relate to this, thankfully for you guys, but, you know, as a woman and for a lot of women, I think that in this context, we do kind of have to assume that any man approaching us is a threat until proven otherwise, and that's not based around, you know, like a man-hating thing. It's rather just that as the weaker sex, you do have to be careful about who is around you and who's in your surroundings. And that's why a lot of women go for runs with weapons or with pepper spray, or, you know, they let people know where they're going, because there's a lot of women who do go out on runs who don't come back. But for men, and I think this is also really sad, this feeds into the exact fear that is stopping men from approaching women in the first place, and it's a fear that is feeding into the things that the women in the initial clips were lamenting.
So I vote that we take all of the creepy men and we put them into the arena. And there they will fight to entertain the masses with their very lives.
Whoa, I don't know where that came from. Then there's also this massive issue here, which is policing priorities. The UK wants to allot resources to catcall stings, but actively ignores actually serious crimes. Judges in the country routinely let fans of the playground walk free for some absolutely insane reason. Harassment, SA, and the like, particularly when it involves foreign nationals or when it revolves around grooming gangs, which are well documented, literally gets less attention. Take the grooming gang scandals in places like Rotherham or Telford, for example. Thousands of girls and women were victimized, and the authorities dragged their feet for years on this, too afraid of being accused of racism. And when they did finally act, it was absolutely too little, too late. Even now, people continue to act like this isn't a huge, pervasive issue. Yet we've got police jogging around to catch a whistle. Are you serious? So it's really not all that hard to see this as a massive misallocation of effort. Unpleasant, icky catcalling absolutely sucks, but it is nowhere near on the same level of systemic abuse. So the question becomes, why focus on this seemingly low-hanging fruit when there are much bigger fruits to be picked? This disconnect absolutely fuels distrust, and as a result you have good men, and I think that's an important distinction, good men, because good men don't act like pigs, who are feeling fearful and targeted, and then you have women who are also feeling fearful and unheard. Meanwhile, the absolute schmoes who deserve to be in prison are slipping through the cracks. It's like we're fighting over all these gender war scraps while all these absolute psychopaths walk around unencumbered. And I don't like it, Simon. I don't like it at all. So to the broader point of men not approaching women who want to be approached, I think what we are currently seeing from modern society is pretty bad right now, and I think it is negatively affecting both men and women. I think a lot of men, by their nature, are pursuit hunters. So back when we were taking down prey with nothing but pointy sticks and a dream, men would pursue prey for miles until it got too tired to resist and served itself up for din-din. So, and not to use like kind of a weird example, but I think men sort of pursue women in a similar fashion by nature. They see a woman that they like, an antelope, a gazelle, if you will, and then they will continue to woo and court her until she sees him as a competent and compatible mate, where she will then serve herself up for din-din. The thing is, and obviously I can't speak for all women, we are by no means a monolith. We don't all think the same or feel the same, but I do think that a large portion of women do like to be pursued and like to see men doing the pursuing, because it probably indicates that there is a level of deeper connection and desire that men have that will see women cared for and protected really for the rest of our lives. And I think that's really noble and really honorable and really nice. And you guys are welcome to disagree with me as much as you like, but I do think that a lot of this is innate. I do think it's inbuilt. And, you know, as much as we have had, what, probably a good couple decades of programming trying to disrupt, I guess, biological conventions, I don't think that we're gonna get around some of these components because, like I said, I think they're inbuilt. And this is probably why you see women who are very upset that no man will approach them when they're out on the town or when they're out on their run, displaying their jiggle physics. This is some really good tea. Men pursuing women isn't a bad thing. It's literally step one of the propagation of our species and the fulfillment of deep-seated natural instincts. But the aforementioned social disruption by modern ideological nonsense has created a serious issue by making a very natural occurrence that benefits both parties a punishable act. There's no nuance here. All pursuit is bad pursuit. Decent men not approaching women these days is not really born out of some random caution. I think there are myriad reasons why men stay away. For one, the social climate in recent years has changed drastically. In the past, a man could go up to a woman at a bar or somewhere out in public and strike up a conversation and not be sweating bullets. Now, from what I understand, a lot of guys feel like every single move that they make is under a microscope. The Me Too movement, for all of its faults, did expose some credible predators, but one of its fallouts was leaving men with a lingering fear that innocent actions will be misread or misinterpreted. Secondly, today it doesn't help that everything is documented 100% of the time. A single awkward interaction could end up on Twitter or TikTok, like we've seen with all of these gym videos where women make a glance or a normal interaction seem creepy and predatory when it really isn't. And social media doesn't just judge, it broadcasts to millions of people who are only getting a sliver of the actual story, but turning into raging lunatics over it anyway. This video was probably gonna end here, but then I thought of more things that I wanted to add, so I am recording on a different day, although I have tried to make myself look the same for continuity purposes, but it's not the same. It's a different day. So I just wanted to acknowledge that in case any of you are like, why does she suddenly look different? It's because I'm a different person today. The irony for me is that I don't like how my hair or makeup looks in this video, but I had to do the same thing for continuity purposes. So yeah, back to the topic. The issue here too is that there's really no way of knowing which women are open to advances and which women are going to feel threatened. And when it comes to this issue, I actually really empathize with decent normal men. They're damned if they do, damned if they don't. They might approach a woman and she might think that they're being a creep, or they might ignore a woman and then she feels invisible. But from the woman's vantage point, and the thing that often gets lost in this conversation when it comes to this specific criticism, is that I would argue the majority of women have been threatened at one point or another in their life. So this unfortunate and sad sense of unease that a lot of women feel and experience definitely makes sense. When I first started making videos, I probably would have had a different series of thoughts and commentary about this, but I think the older that I get, the more that I realize there is unfortunately a portion of men who ignore boundaries and do approach women with this entitled, aggressive behavior that in turn ruins everything for the normal guys who just want to ask a woman on a date or tell her that she's pretty. And it also ruins it for the women who want to meet that nice normal guy who wants to be protective and caring and loving. It's like this group of creepy, terrible people is ruining it for everybody else. Oh, that's basically how it is with every issue. Wow. So I have also thought a lot about how we deal with this issue without resorting to police officers basically baiting men on the street. And one of the things I've landed on is good, strong men policing terrible men. But even that is basically borderline impossible to do these days, because when good protective men do step in, they're the ones who often get arrested. This will never not be frustrating to me. This very recently happened on a train in London where a man exposed himself to passengers and then a bunch of Englishmen took him down, and they were the ones who were arrested. The same goes for Daniel Penny here in the United States. For those who don't know, Penny, who is a former Marine, basically intervened on a New York subway train car when a man was threatening other passengers. Penny restrained the man, who passed away, not from the restraining, just to be clear, but for other reasons that I'm actually not sure of off the top of my head. Anyway, instead of being hailed a hero, Penny instead faced very serious legal consequences and public backlash. And when I say legal consequences, I mean, you know, he was like looking at a sentence that could have put him in prison for a very long time. Personally, I think it's pretty screwed up that socially men who act appropriately are punished for their good intentions, and we aren't even meaningfully addressing the terrible ones here. Punishing men who actually have good intentions to help women, obviously, but other people too, isn't actually helping women if the only people not being punished are the ones who need to be punished. It's so annoying because all of this basically amounts to virtue signaling at the expense of women, but not actually doing anything to help us. So yeah, whoever designed this current system at play, whoever pushed for it, has successfully made it so that men don't want to approach women, which is making women feel unwanted and lonely and honestly not super protected. Again, socially, we are punishing good men's protective natures, which in turn leaves women more vulnerable to bad men. And you know, speaking of the bad men, I am sure that they are loving these developments and probably feel emboldened by them, because if there are no good men who can step in and stop other people being victimized because they are being handcuffed both figuratively and literally, what do you think happens in that context? It leaves the bad men to become worse, Simon. That's what. Not to wheel out the women most affected meme, but, you know, women most affected. I don't know, guys. These topics really make me sad because these issues are absolutely way more nuanced than just this black and white thinking that typically comes out when people are discussing them. But I think, you know, one of the bottom lines here is that creeps and psychopaths are the ones who end up benefiting the most because of all of this weird socio-political flexing that goes on with relation to this topic. As a woman and as a member of the fairer sex, can I completely understand why women are very sad with men not approaching them and talking to them and asking them out in appropriate settings? Yes, absolutely. That was my like entire dating life. Men didn't talk to me, but that's also probably because I'm really tall and I have a resting bitch face. Maybe. Do I also understand why men don't really want to approach women these days? Yeah, I do, actually. I get it. Do I understand why women don't want to be catcalled on their runs or when they're walking home from school as a teenage girl? Yes, absolutely I do. But do I also think that people should be arrested for catcalling? Probably not, if it's innocuous. But again, you have people who take it too far, who make it creepy, who make it beyond creepy, who make it dangerous and threatening, and that's where my issue is. I'm not super certain of what overall point I wanted to make here and leave you all with. I'm not even sure that I have one. I saw the sorry police thing and I really wanted to weigh in on it. And then I guess a secondary thought that I have that I don't want to get into is I would love to be a fly on the wall when these coppers realize the primary demographics that are doing the catcalling and who is the most risk to women. and then how quickly they will shut the initiative down when they do that, when they realize that. So I guess if I have a final thing to say here, it is this. I feel very sad about the fact that interactions between men and women have been so eroded, and I feel sad about all of the normal people from both sexes who are being caught up in all of the stupidity. Dating is not easy for either sex for a multitude of reasons, and the more that we add social pressure to situations, I think the worse things turn out. I don't really want to see a bunch of gender bashing in the comments because I don't think that unilaterally one sex is to blame over the other, but I do think that we can direct a lot of our ire at the freaks and the weirdos who make it hard for everybody else. So in the end, I am not certain how we fix this, but I am positive that having an open, honest dialogue about these things is definitely a step in the right direction. Now on that note, and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder, check out American Financing using the link in the description. If this is something that you are struggling with, finances are hard, trust me, I know. Definitely check them out, give them a call, see if they might be able to help you. Now I open the floor to all of you. What do you all think? I'm a little scared of your comments, guys, for this video. Do you think that the Surrey Police Initiative is a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it completely insane? It's overkill, it should not be happening? Do you think that actually there's some tangible benefit to doing this, to stopping people from catcalling? Do you think that catcalling is a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it innocuous? Is it threatening? Are you a woman who was catcalled as a young teenager and kind of creeped out from that? What do you guys make of the perspective that a lot of women have that they're not being approached when they're out? Do you think that this is because men are too fearful to approach them because they don't want to be misperceived? Do you think that it's because women have created a rod for their backs? Do you feel bad for the women in these cases because they're probably not even the ones who started all of this? They're too young to have been a part of the earlier movements that led men to this point? And what you generally make of this issue overall? As always, if you have made it this far in the video, congratulations. I always like having you along for the full ride. If you are new here and you're not subscribed already and you would like to see more of me and more of this kind of content, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well as leaving this video a like and a comment because I do read the majority of them and I like hearing your feedback. Of course, my little chickadee noodles, I hope you stay safe and well and make good choices in the interim, and I will see your wonderful little faces in the next video.